Okay, so we've gone over conjunctions. Now let's see what else we're going to work with. Again, 3 statements. We know the truth values. We have true, false, and true. So let's look at our first example. As we can see, we have that little squiggly line, so that means that's going to be a negation, not P. We have the up arrow, which signifies we're using a conjunction, and then we have the statement Q. So the squiggly line with the P, if we go back to our definitions, this was the negation, where we want to write a statement that has the opposite truth value, typically associated with the word not. So let's look and see what we can do. So we have statement P, which is there are 7 days in a week. The negation of that is there are not 7 days in a week. Notice the not is in all capitals because I'm signifying this is the logical not that we're using because it's a negation. Oh, I forgot the K. All right. Then up arrow implies, again, we're using a conjunction, so join it with the word and. And then we have statement Q, March has 30 days. Okay, so let's examine the truth value. We know that Q is false. So since it's a conjunction, the whole thing will be false. But let's also remember that even though we know statement P is true, since we're using the negation, that's also going to be false because it's always the opposite truth value of the original statement. So we have 2 falses, which really doesn't change the truth value. It's still going to be false, but it's just something to note as we're working on these. And if you even read the statement, there are not 7 days in a week, you can kind of obviously intuitively tell that that's a false statement. All right, let's look at the next one. We have P, down arrow, R. So this is our first disjunction symbolized with the down arrow. So let's write out statement P. There are 7 days in a week. The down arrow disjunction means we're going to join the statements with the word or. And then statement R, Halloween is on October 31st. And both of these statements are true, so the entire truth value is true. All right, I think we have 2 more examples left, so let's give them a look. Again, I should have really did this in advance, but let's note the truth values as such. All right. So, at this one, we have not Q, down arrow, meaning disjunction, and then R. So, not Q is the negation of the statement Q. March has 30 days. So, we need to write a statement that has the opposite meaning of Q. So, we can say that March does not have 30 days. Then we have the down arrow, a disjunction, meaning we're going to use the word or. And then statement R, Halloween is on October 31st. So we know R is true. Not Q. Well, look at the statement Q. We know that's false. So since the negation is the opposite meaning, then not Q must be true. So now we can see if the original is false, the negation must be true. Kind of like how if you have a negative number and you negate it, you multiply it by another negative number, it becomes a positive number. So our truth value in this case is going to be true again, since they're both true. And finally, number 7. This one's probably the most complicated one, but we'll see. It's not so bad. All right, not P, or since it's a down arrow, not R. So take the statement P, apply the opposite meaning to it. So there are not 7 days in a week. The down arrow says disjunction, which means use the word or not R, which is Halloween, is not, let's be consistent, not on October 31st. So both of these would be false because their original truth values were true. Since we negated them, they end up being false. So the truth value in this one will be false as well. Okay, so that covers a lot of the basics. One other thing I would like to note, since I didn't really get to it in this video, is in an or statement, at least one statement has to be true for the entire disjunction to be true. So one last case I'd like to show is, what if we had P or Q? What would that truth value be? Well, P is true. Q, in our case, was false. But since it's a disjunction, only one of them has to be true for the entire disjunction to be true. So if we actually wrote this out, the truth value would be true, because it only matters that P was true. In a conjunction, they both have to be true, but in a disjunction, only one of them has to be true. And we'll see this pretty clearly in the next video where we go over truth tables. I'll see you then.